well as a Civil 200 project. So first we're just going to go over some simple, we're just going to go over pretty much all these things and how they work, what they do. So first of all, AutoCAD is very similar to SolidWorks. If you have experience in SolidWorks, you're going to love AutoCAD. We're going to go to 3D basics for this instead of drafting an annotation, which you might have experience in. So the first thing we're going to look at is just how to make a 2D shape into a 3D shape. So here we have an ellipse and a square, or rectangle, sorry. So what we're first going to do is click extrude up in the top left here. We're going to click an object, and let's say we'll press enter, and then you can raise it as high as you want. Let's say you want it 27 high, so it's 27, and there you go. And similarly, it works with something like this. And this one, for this, you can also go into negative distances. You just have to make sure your cursor is below the area, or you can go up. So let's go that high. And you can also actually make all these shapes by clicking this top left here and it says box. You can do box, cylinder, cone, sphere, pyramid, wedge, torus, and polysolid. So let's say we're trying to make a box like that, we'll just be able to do this. 1, 2, and then go like this, and adjust height. So that's similar for all these. And a polysolid is kind of a couple walls almost. So you see it's like something like that, and you can go down this way, back this way, and then do whatever you want from there. So those are some of just options on how to make some 3D stuff and how to make stuff into 3D. Next thing we're going to talk about is the revolve function. So it creates a 3D solid or surface by sweeping around something. So if we click revolve, we're going to click an object. So let's say we wanted to make a 270-degree circular pipe. So we're going to select revolve, select the object, press enter. And we define our axis by, let's say, we want to rotate it around this point, and we'll go down to here. And as you can see, it creates a circle. Let's actually not do 270 degrees. Let's just do 90 degrees. So you can see this there. And here we have a circular tube that rotates 90 degrees from where it originally started. So the next feature that we can go over is the loft feature. So this feature essentially just connects different layers. So to have it work, you need to have a bunch of objects in different elevations or different planes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say loft, and then you select them in order. So we'll go like this to this, and that will create a nice route up to meet with that. So you can see it goes like that, and all the corners line up with a circle. It doesn't work the best with circles and squares. It's a bit of a bad example. It was demonstrated, but I have another one here. So if you want to join 3 objects, or 2, you can see these are a bit rectangles are a bit out of line, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the loft feature, we're going to go in order, so we're going to go 1, 2, and then 3. And as you can see, it creates a nice curve stretching from one to the other. So then we can press enter, and we're just going to go cross sections only, so it'll take out that middle segment, and then we just have a nice curve that goes from there to there. So you can use this to follow all sorts of different routes and create natural curves between objects. So the next function that we'll go over is the sweep. So this is going to take a shape and then put it around an axis and go along the axis. So you'll have first of all the shape, and you'll also have a line that you want to be the center axis. So let's say we wanted to make a tube that goes straight for a while and goes this way and then goes down. What we're going to do is we're going to do sweep, select our ellipse, select object to sweep. We're going to press enter once, and then select the path that we're sweeping on. And there you go. So as you can see, we've created an ellipsoid tube. It takes the same path that we wanted from before, and that's also a very good way just to represent or make it easy to create pipes and tubes and stuff like that. So now what we're going to move on to, so we have a box here. So we're going to move on to the press pull function, so these edit functions. So the first one, press pull, is very cool. It's very useful as well. So what you can do is it'll select a plane or a face of an object. So you can see I can go between these and select different faces. So let's say I want to do this one, I can drag it out. If I wanted to go off of this, I can drag this up. And this makes it very simple to extend your objects and just make them bigger or smaller. So as you can see, that was the press pull function. Let's do one more time just to demonstrate. You can also cut them down this way, and it's just a very useful feature and all. There we go. So next, we're just going to move over to some of these other ones as well. So the union feature, what this does, it'll take two solids, as you can see, I have two solids that are intersecting with each other, and it will create one singular solid. So take the union function, and then I'll select both my objects, so 1 and then 2. I'll press enter, and as you can see, it is now one singular object. We can select the whole thing, and it removes any areas where the line cut in, the box cut into the circle. So we have one single object. And then you can also use these in conjunction with other functions. So we can also use press pull onto this if we wanted to. Let's say we wanted to make this plane a bit, stretch out a bit further. We can just go like that. And this one go like this. And so you can see how it really works, and it's quite easy to use. So the next function we're going to be looking at is the subtract function. So this takes one surface away from another. So what we're going to do is we're going to select subtract. We're going to click one object, and then we're going to press enter, and let's say we want to subtract the other object from that. So we're going to select this object, press enter again. So as you can see, we took the first object that we selected, and we subtracted whatever was from that second object away from it. So this also works the other way. If we go back, we can see that we subtract. We're going to select our square, press enter, and then say we want to subtract the circle away from the area of the square. We're going to press enter again, and as you can see, it creates a indent where the circle was before. So that's all cool. The next thing we're going to cover is the intersect function. So this is similar to the union one, except kind of different. So we're going to take intersect, and we'll have two different objects to select multiple objects, or 3 or 4 even. I'm going to press enter, and it will form something that is just the intersection. So everything that is in both of those objects, it will form a solid in the shape of that. So as you can see, we have our remnants of the square, and we also have the remnants of the circle. Next, we're just going to be looking at some basic editing techniques for the blocks themselves. So let's just say we have 2 blocks here, and we want to either fillet or chamfer them. So a fillet is simply a rounded edge on the block, so it rounds it off and makes it not as sharp. So we're going to click edit and go into fillet, and then we'll select this edge. So we're going to go fillet, and then select this edge as well as, let's say, this edge. And as you can see, it kind of shows us what we should be looking for in a rounded curve. So we're going to press enter. And then if we want to change the radius, we can, or we can see the preview thing that AutoCAD has given us and just press enter again. So that rounds off the edges, and they sit nice and nice and round at the top, no more edges there. And there's something similar you can do with a chamfer, which is essentially the same thing but with sharp edges. So if we select chamfer here, doubles the edge. So we'll select one edge here. We can say one edge here, one edge here, and one edge here. These little grids show us what we'll be cutting area off from. And then say we say enter. Let's set the distance as 25. Set the distance here as 25. And then select this next also 25. And you can see the little preview of what we'll be cutting off. And we can just press enter if we like that, or you can change the distance again by clicking on this distance box. However, I like that, so I'm just going to press enter. So as you can see, there we have our nicely chamfered block. That pretty much covers all of the basic AutoCAD functions we had. There's obviously a lot of different uses you can have for each of these, so you can just make simple shapes. You can revolve shapes around any lines. You can connect shapes, sweep them around lines, which is similar to the revolve function. And there's many more things you can do with that. So thank you for watching.